there was a beautiful story that I read in one of the Chicken Soup for the Soul books. There's a whole series, and this was one of them. And it was a story, I don't think it was true, but it's a beautiful principle, that there had been a monastery, and at one time it had been filled with vibrancy and devotion, and the monks were just so dynamically giving their life to God. But over time, as can happen, that inspiration in the monastery diminished, and the old monks died off, and new monks didn't come. We're so lucky at Ananda, we don't have that situation. The old monks aren't dying off yet, and the young monks are coming. But the place was empty, and there were only 4 old monks left. And the head abbot said, I must find out. I don't want to see this place just become an empty relic, an empty shell here. And he remembered that in the forest there lived an old hermit. And he said, maybe that hermit can help me. And so he went out into the forest and found the little hut where the hermit lived. And he told the hermit what was going on. And the hermit just kind of shook his head and said, no, this happens. This is a sad thing, but such is human life, and on and on. But he didn't give him any advice. And the head abbot was disappointed, and he was leaving, and he was just at the door of the hermit's hut. And the hermit said, oh, by the way, don't forget, one of you is the Messiah. And the abbot didn't know what to make of that, but he was pondering, and he said, maybe that old hermit has become foolish. But he got back to the monastery, and there were the 3 other remaining monks there, and they said, what did he say? What did he say? He said, well, he didn't really have any advice for us, but he said something strange at the end. He said, one of you is the Messiah. And they all kind of shrugged and laughed and went back to their cells for evening prayer. But they all thought about that. And they thought, well, I know I'm not the Messiah, but Brother Francis, he's such a holy man. He's always so good and selfless and not thinking about himself. Maybe he's the Messiah. And he began treating him with reverence. And so each one of them thought, well, I know I'm not the one, but maybe it's that one. And so they began treating each other, looking at the divinity in each soul. And little by little, the spirit changed. And people felt it. And the young people from the nearby village would come. And first they would just have picnics on the lawn. And then a few of the young men kind of said, can we come to your evening prayers? And they said, yes, you can come. And then, may we join you? And little by little, the whole spirit of the monastery was rebuilt, simply with that thought of seeing the divinity in everyone.